Let's see how we can find if two vectors are perpendicular or parallel. Now remember the rule. If the dot product of two vectors is equal to 0, that means that the vectors are perpendicular, right? And again, the reason for that is because if the angle between them is 90, that means cos 90 is equal to 0, right? And cos 90 is basically used in the dot product, right? Now, in case to find if the two vectors are parallel, you take the cross product. And if the cross product is equal to 0, that means that the two vectors are parallel, right? And again, the reason for that is because in a parallel vectors, the angle between the two vectors is either 0 or 180, and you know that sine 180 is equal to 0 and sine 0 is also equal to 0, right? Now, this is one thing. In case of the dot product, there was another rule, right? The other rule was that if one vector, let's say the vector A, is a scalar multiple, and let's call that multiple k, of another vector B, that means that A and B are parallel, right? So here we have the rules. Now let's see. We've been given these three vectors, right? U, V, and W, and we need to find if these three are perpendicular or parallel to each other. Let's take U and V. To find out if U and V are perpendicular to each other, we will take the dot product and see if it is equal to 0. And in this case, it is not equal to 0. It is equal to -6, which means that the two vectors are not perpendicular. Similarly, to find out if they are parallel, we take the cross product, and that gives us this. And this is also not equal to 0, which means that U and V are not parallel either. Now, in case of W, as you can see, W is, if you take -3 common in this vector W, you find out that this vector here is equal to U. So W is equal to -3U, which means that W is a scalar multiple of U, which means that U and W are parallel. Now, V dot W, right? And again, if U and W are parallel, that already implies that they cannot be perpendicular. That's just how it is. So V and W, V dot W, what does that give you? V dot W gives you 18, which means that V and W are not perpendicular to each other. And V and W cannot be written as scalar multiples of each other, so they are not parallel either. So the only result that we got is that U and W are parallel to each other because W is a scalar multiple of U,